The first thing with networking is you just have to get comfortable being uncomfortable because
you obviously got how many acceptances, rejections?
I got 2 offers out of 13, so It was a lot. Just because I go to gym in the morning before work and before my 9 to 5 doesn't mean that's going to be the best fit for you.
Exactly.
I think it's when you start to enjoy the kind of success of your hard work is where that's the kind of motivation for me. It's like when I see, okay.
Hi everyone, welcome back to a Mellow Space podcast. I am joined by the lovely Sophia here. She is an amazing black woman killing it in the corporate space right now. She's into tech. She does so much content on TikTok where she teaches people how to get into tech, as well as like leveling up and building that confidence in the corporate space. And I'm totally loving it. So welcome to the podcast, Safi. I'm so excited to have you. Do you want to give a brief introduction to yourself?
So I'm Sophia. I'm a software developer degree apprentice. That's what everyone kind of takes me for. But other than that, I do, same as you said, content to kind of uplift everyone, make sure everyone knows about women in tech, and just kind of show my personality a little bit.
Yes, amazing. So I really brought you into this space because as a fellow black woman, getting into the tech space in general is really hard. And it's not even that, it's quite male dominated as well. So I wanted to kind of get your perspective on how you're kind of navigating that corporate working space, as well as your perspective on like networking, building yourself up in the corporate space, as well as your confidence and everything. So I'm really excited to kind of jump onto this podcast and have this conversation with you. So I think I really wanted to start off with, like, where did it all start? So you had your A-levels, you did your A-levels. Did you kind of know you wanted to get into an apprenticeship, or was university not on the cards? So where was your headspace around that time?
So, if I'm being so honest, I was very, very confused up until about maybe end of year 12, going into year 13, so where everyone had to kind of start doing UCAS. That was where I was just a bit lost. Everybody else kind of knew, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a lawyer, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But I didn't really have that. I enjoyed my subjects. I did STEM subjects. I did physics, chemistry, and maths at the time.
Oh, wow.
And I enjoyed them.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel like, I'm absolutely passionate about this. This is what I want to do.
Okay.
So it was a lockdown. I was just kind of researching stuff, and I was like, okay, an apprenticeship. My sister mentioned it to me. I did some research, and then the idea of kind of having the best of both worlds, working, making it kind of link with my schoolwork, I thought, okay, perfect. So that's why I went down that kind of direction.
Oh, okay. So what was the process in getting an apprenticeship? Because it's a degree apprenticeship, right? So first of all, what is the difference between
an apprenticeship
and a degree apprenticeship?
Okay. So a degree apprenticeship is just essentially you have a degree as well. So it's the same thing. So you work full time, but with an apprenticeship, sometimes it can be just a high level qualification, but it's not equivalent to a degree.
Okay.
But when it's a degree apprenticeship, it's equivalent to a full bachelor's. So you would get like certificate, your graduation the same way. So it's the same kind of concept. Yeah.
What was the process like? Was it competitive to like really?
Yeah.
I remember like watching a video and you was going through your job applications, and was it something like 11?
I did 13, 12. I think I counted 12, but I think it's 13 applications.
You did 13 applications, and out of that, you obviously got how many acceptances, rejections?
I got 2 offers out of 13, so it was a lot. But surprisingly, people have done a lot more, but I'm very much on like quality over quantity. I felt like all 13 of those applications was something I was proud of. I felt like I put in work for that. So it kind of showed in the kind of process of it.
Sense. Yeah, that is so interesting, because I know, for example, when I was doing job searching a couple months ago, I was getting a lot of rejections. Like, I would get through the application process and that's fine, but when it comes to the interview, that's when the rejections start coming in. And what I found really interesting is in one of your videos, you was like, I am confident that I'm going to get this job. So that is like an amazing mindset to have. So my question to you is like, why were you in that mindset, and how did it help you actually like you manifested that job? Because a lot of women out there, that rejection will kind of knock them down. It will knock them down. Self-doubt will start coming in. Did you experience those kind of feelings?
I think I definitely did, because those two offers that I got were the last two I had left. So I was literally on the brim. I was thinking, university it is, I'm coming, like, let me find my accommodation. I was ready to like give up because I just thought, whoa, like I've done so many applications. But I think it was the idea of speaking to everyone, and everyone kind of just really downplay themselves and say, like, they just don't really have that level of, I'm it, and no one else is going to stand up for you the way you will for yourself. So I just thought, I'm going to be confident in the fact that, I have a lot to bring, a lot to offer. I had a lot to learn at the time because I wasn't, very strong in tech at the time. I didn't have a strong technical background like a lot of other people. But I just thought, no, like, I'm here to learn. And if I show that eagerness and I show up for myself, they can probably see that shine through.
That's such an amazing... So in the job application process, because you didn't have the tech background, was the applications quite techy? How did you navigate?
No, so I specifically targeted ones that didn't require a strong technical background, but there was always still like a technical interview. So with apprenticeships in general, there's a very layered recruitment process. So it's the same as kind of applying for a job, but it's the added, assess networking events, assessment centres, and then back-to-back interviews. Like, it's very, very tedious, but yeah.
So you've done about 13 job applications, and then you went through the interview process. So you've got quite a lot of experience in terms of applying for jobs and interview tips. So what would you say is like the go-to interview tips that actually made you get the job that you did at the end?
First things first, make it a conversation. Don't go in with the mindset of, I'm going to be like brutally examined or something. No, like, they're here to have a conversation with you. They want to know you're a person as much as they want all these skills and everything. Have a conversation. Don't overthink it too much, because I know my first interview, if you compare my first interviews to my last interviews, I feel like, I understand why you rejected me. Because I was very much sounding robotic. I was sounding like, okay, what did I say next to my notes? What did I write in my notepad? It's important to make sure it's a conversation. Bring yourself, bring your personality. I think that's easier said than done.
Of course,
like, no one else is going to come as you, so come as you. Like,
exactly, you do.
You know what I mean?
I think when I was going through a lot of job interviews too, you're absolutely right. I think personality plays a big part. And also, I've realised too, when you do a lot of job interviews, majority of the time, they want to see if you fit into the team. They want to see, like, if your personality can fit with the wider aspects. So I would definitely agree with come with yourself, come with your personality, and have a conversation with the person that you're having the interview with, because you actually stand out more.
Yeah, definitely.
So I definitely agree.
Even like, just the small things as like body language, eye contact, just make sure you're really engaged. And I think as well, a big thing when I started doing interviews was that I would forget to really listen to what the interviewee is saying to me in response to my answers, because sometimes you're kind of wrapped up in, okay, what's the next question, and not really listening. And they obviously really appreciate when you can kind of give them a question that's specific and catered to them, not like, oh, what do you do on a day-to-day, your job, like, how would I, the kind of generic, have a different question. And I think my main feedback that I got that I was actually quite happy with was that I asked really good questions, and I think that makes you stand out. They will go back and say, oh, she asked really good questions.
Exactly. Do you ask for feedback after your interviews?
So I think it was the first few where I didn't really get too far into the interview stages. So I only got to the final interview stages of 5 of those out of 13. So those first few, it was like we're oversubscribed, like, we're not even gonna look kind of thing. So those ones I didn't, but when I got further down the lines, the 3 that I got rejected from, I did ask for feedback.
Okay, and were they like open to be giving you feedback? What kind of feedback?
So 2 of them didn't give me feedback. I'm guessing they were just really busy. But one of them, they did give me feedback, and it was just kind of the general, you did really well, but other applicants had more to offer, kind of thing. So it wasn't really too specific. It wasn't really what I was looking for, but I appreciated the response.
So how did you handle these rejections? Because obviously, personally for me, I remember once I went for a job interview, and I went to the final stage, and I walked out thinking, I'm going to get a job.
This.
I even put my word, I'm like, I got the job. I already know. And this was on like a Friday. So they didn't get back to me on the Tuesday. And when they get back to you on email, already you did the thing.
You just didn't.
You didn't get
it's when you get the no caller ID or the odd number, you're like,
you got the job when you get a phone call. So I saw the email, and I was at work at the time, and I literally ran to the bathroom and I broke down and I cried, because I was like, I thought I got it, and I gave that interview
your all.
My all. So I was like, what else can I do I have to offer? It's like you get a feeling of self-worthlessness.
Yeah.
And it's like you start to
question yourself.
Like, am I actually good enough? If I didn't get this and I gave it my all, what else can I do? And obviously you went through that quite a lot of times. So how did you handle that rejection?
I think it was just the idea that I just felt like, no, I'm gonna get this. Like, I just kept trying to think, no, positivity. It's like, it's all in God's timing. Just be patient with it. And yeah, I just kind of kept hopeful, really.
Yeah.
And the idea for me was that I just felt like there was no other choice. This was what I was doing, full stop. So it was like just keeping with that mentality, and also just self-reflecting as well, trying to find out in the interview so sometimes when you're in your interview and you say something and that was a good sentence, like that was amazing, well done,
exactly,
well done, like to me, like that was amazing. So yeah, it's just knowing that, okay, this moment I hesitated a bit. I didn't really know how to, what to say. So it's just kind of learning from your own mistakes and getting better as you go on.
Yeah, that's true. I think too, the fact that you ask for feedback is really good. A lot of people don't do that. And learning from your mistakes too. And also, when you finish an interview, like, you would always think, yeah, you've done well, but try and reflect back on it.
Yeah.
And if you did get that rejection, there's always ways you can be 1% better.
Yeah,
so that's one advice that I would give too, is think of ways where whatever you can do, how can you make it better by 1%? So that's one thing I would say too. So on the topic of being confident, I know you two make a lot of content on social media about how to be confident in more of a corporate workspace. And I think it's really important because as a Black woman, sometimes confidence can come across as like attitude or as, oh, we think we know it all, or that we're too big. So how do you kind of navigate that in a corporate workspace?
So, I mean, for me, it's the same thing, just kind of showing up as yourself. And I know for me, I think the first week I came all out. Okay, I came as myself. Okay, I like the whole corporate dressing. I like to dress up. That's how I feel comfortable. So that's how I came. But then everybody else, especially being in tech, it's male dominated, and people can be quite introverted, and they'd rather kind of be in more of a relaxed vibe. So I did feel quite out of place, but yeah, then the week after, I downplayed myself. I was trying to be comfy with the gang. I was trying to fit in, and I didn't feel comfortable. I wasn't feeling my best. So then I just went back to it, and I was like, no, like, I actually feel good when I dress up. It makes me feel good, makes me feel productive. And that's probably the one thing that I will always get, like, oh, Saf, you always well dressed, always well put together. And I think that's a nice compliment. It's something I want to be remembered by. And I think that almost became like a conversation starter with people. So yeah, I think I used it to my advantage. And I think as well, being in tech, and like you said, being a woman of colour, there's almost more pressure to perform. But as well, being in my position, it's like I'm in a learning position, and I felt like I had to kind of downplay myself a little bit because I'm learning. I shouldn't be so loud and all out of the outfits and stuff, but that's how I feel my best, so that's how I come. And I think it's very important to remember that, just because you come a certain way, just because you look good, that shouldn't be a measure of your intelligence and what you have to bring and offer and the value you have add to your team.
I completely agree. One thing that I find interesting is that I come from a corporate space too, but if, for example, a Black woman goes into work not looking their best, for example, the way a white person will come into work looking like, I wouldn't want to say the word scruffy, but no, what's the right word to say?
A little bit as,
like chilled.
Yeah,
I mean, very chilled. Yeah, very chilled. But if a Black woman comes in, for example, a Black woman can't come into work with a natural hair messy bun because we don't have that sort of, our messy
it's looking
bun.
Like we've gone through a lot.
It's like we look like we've gone through a lot, and then some people might question, "Are you okay? Did you get a good
are you well?
Sleep? Are you
sick?
well?
Do you need to go home?"
Exactly. So I understand that when you go to work, you want to show up as your best selves, because sometimes we can't really show up as that. Sometimes we just want to be chilled, or we just want to come into work just looking like we haven't put in effort. Because when we start to do that, we get questions like, "Are you sick?
Yeah, are you alright?
Yeah, are you alright?" You know what I mean? It's weird.
It's that. Yeah, because you can't really win with that as well. And I think it's funny because although like I do come very dressed up to work, there are days when I come really comfy. I'm like, it's whatever I'm feeling.
Yeah.
But yeah, you will get an odd stare, or like someone will think, okay,
I need to pull her aside to see if she's okay.
Yeah, something like that. But even then, like, I think it's okay to want to be chill at work. I think whatever makes you comfortable, because I know some people aren't feeling the heels, some people aren't feeling it, and that's okay. But it's just, just making sure that you know in yourself that you're comfortable. Don't let anybody else make you feel small.
Yeah, exactly. That's very interesting. On the topic of like navigating corporate working space, is this your first time, right, in the corporate?
Yeah,
how have you find it, like navigating it? Like I said, it is a quite male dominated industry. We forgot to mention you're actually in software development, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
You're actually in software development. It is quite male heavily dominated. How have you find just being in corporate in general?
Where do I start? Corporate in general. I mean, at first it was very overwhelming because, you know, you're just seeing the seats, you're seeing everything's glass and pretty and prim, and you just kind of feel like you've just come from, you know, your little school setting, and it's a very, very big shift. But I think everyone is very welcoming. That's for starters. With me and my team personally, I don't think I've said, but I'm in processing automations, which is like global techs in my investment bank. So yeah, there's a lot of financy conversations going on. We manage liquidity specifically as well. So there's a lot of big conversations going on, but it's just reminding yourself to not feel timid about that. Not asking the stupid questions will trip you up. Just ask the stupid questions. You might think they're stupid, but they're a valid question because you don't know what's going on. So it was just asking the stupid questions, getting over the kind of, you know, what is it called again?
Which one?
Imposter syndrome.
Yes.
Getting over the imposter syndrome. And just being conversational. Literally. I think what was it? One of my first proper corporate meetings as well, I was very, very nervous for, and it was like my first proper code walkthrough. And it was quite like a long one. It was tedious. And if I'm being so honest, it was the most boring meeting.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
The most boring meeting I've ever experienced. But it had to be done. Like, like with code, it's either going to really run smoothly, or you're going to be stuck on a bug and the whole team's stuck on that bug for X amount of time. And it's going to be long. It's going to be tedious. It's not fun. But obviously I just started, so I'm trying to have a good impression. I want everyone to think, you know, she was listening. She was actively, you know, following the instructions. You know, I was trying to be really, you know, put my foot forward. So it came to the end of the meeting, and bear in mind, I do hybrid working. So I was working from home that day. And all I could think in my mind was, it was about 4 p.m. as well. So it was like leaning to, you know,
5 time to
laptop
go.
to shut, you know. In my head, I'm eyeing my bed, like I just wouldn't be in bed right now. And then it came to the end of the meeting, and everyone was kind of saying, oh, goodbye. And I went and paused and stopped, and I was like, I think I said something along the lines of, oh, that was so interesting. Thank you so much. Like I went with all sorts, and then I just thought, why did I say that? Like, it was not interesting. I was bored. It was long. And then I think someone said something funny, like, thanks for lying, Sophia, and saying... Someone put me straight in my place.
Someone put you in your place.
Yeah, they were like, thank you so much for lying, Sophia, and saying this was interesting. And I was like, no, but don't worry. They said it in like a comical. Like, the way the whole team, we all just started laughing. And I just realised from then, like, I'm not putting an act anymore. When I say bye next time, I'm going to say, bye, guys. I'm going to jump in bed. Like, see you.
Yeah, you have to be honest with yourself. I think, too, like... just being a woman in general, it's like we kind of have to prove ourselves more than like our counterparts, and especially as a black woman too, it's like we have to prove ourselves times two. So I completely understand. I mean, I've sat in meetings where I pretended to understand what's going on, and in my head I'm thinking, I don't know what you're talking about, and I'm just talking like it's embarrassing, because when you think about it, it's like, why do you have to do that? Because when you just show up as your normal self, it's more like natural.
And you don't overthink anything, because you're just like, I did my thing.
Exactly,
you know what I mean?
I did my thing. So I completely understand. So you're very lucky in the sense where your first corporate job, like, the settings has been very good. It's been relaxing. Watching your content on TikTok too, like your content is amazing.
Thank
it's very
you.
inspiring.
And yours.
Thank you. I see that you like to set routines. You go to the gym in the morning, then obviously you go to work, you come back and you make content. How do you kind of manage all of that? Because in these days, everybody wants to like make content, build a personal brand like we're doing at the moment. How are you managing that? And how does having a routine help you become the woman that you want to be?
I mean, I can't really speak to like, I can't speak from like a long time, because I don't think I've even really perfected it myself. I feel like I'm still working on it all the time. But I know for me, it's just literally as simple as doing things that work best with your schedule and your routine. I think I read a book recently, I think Atomic Habits, everyone's read that almost.
That book.
That was like, you can't develop popular habits just because they're popular. You've got to make sure they cater to you. And I think just because somebody else says, just because I go to gym in the morning before work and before my 9 to 5 doesn't mean that's going to be the best fit for you.
Exactly.
And I think trying to, you know, adopt somebody else's complete schedule and routine will be your downfall. It's important to make sure that it works with you, because you will stick to it if it works
with your
for you.
lifestyle, isn't it?
Yeah. So for me, schedules do really work, and I have different schedules. Like summer's a schedule, winter's a schedule. Like summer's very, I want to be outside.
Yeah.
So there's no early gym sessions. I'm sleeping as much as possible because I'm going to be out in the evening. Whereas winter, it's like I'm trying to be in bed by 6.
Yeah.
I don't want to be outside. It's too cold.
Yeah, it's cold.
It's too cold.
Yeah.
So I want to be in bed tucked away. So it's like, okay, we're gonna you know, deal with it in the morning, go to the gym in the morning. But yeah, it's all about just literally consistency and going with what fits with you and what makes you feel your best self. Yeah,
that's great. So in that sense, when it comes to consistency, what really, you got the schedules, but have you had to build like really healthy habits in order to get you to start being consistent? Because I know, for example, I find it very hard to even go to the gym once a week.
I hear it, yeah.
And to even just be consistent. I know there's a lot of women out there that would. So what's kind of helped you get into that motion of consistency?
Yeah, I think it's when you start to, you know, enjoy the kind of success of your hard work is where that's the kind of motivation for me. It's like when I see, okay, I did really well in this content, and it's not really about, said amount of people think I did well with this content. I know I did well with that content. I feel like that editing was on point. So it's like the little things that you start to notice in yourself and the progress, like waking up, going to the gym is a big thing for me. It's one of my priorities. So when I see that progress in myself, it keeps me going. It keeps me kind of at it. And yeah, it's just discipline, honestly, because no one really wants to wake up and go to the gym at 6. Like, it's freezing in the morning too.
Cold.
Like, it's cold.
Yeah. That's what I keep saying.
It's cold. Like, no one wants to be doing that. But it's the tough things and kind of getting through it and doing the mundane tasks that will get you where you want to be.
Yeah.
And it's easy to say, like, oh, you know, oh, you're doing a lot, you're doing too much. But doing that a lot and doing that too much is getting me to where I need to be.
Exactly. I really like that. So it's basically you're envisioning yourself, like your end goal for that season, and whatever it takes to get you there, you're just gonna have to
kind of suck it up and get with it. Yeah,
that's true. I need to suck it up, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, like sometimes, no, but at the same time, it's not a thing where you can't give yourself that time to chill. I think I forget to do that sometimes. Like, you know, when you'll be thinking, when was the last time I did nothing? Like, I don't know. It's like, you need to remember, no, balance. Like, don't be stressing yourself out. Chill out. It's not that serious. Life is life at the end of the day as well. So and I think you mentioned about kind of making time for content and making time to do more.
How do you kind of, you know, do that all together? Because there's a lot. You go to the gym, then you do your 9 to 5, then you come and make content. Then obviously you've got family, friends, everything. So how are you? Then you want to go out. So how are you kind of juggling all of that together?
I think, well, first thing is knowing when to say no. I think as a woman as well, you can sometimes be a little bit soft to it because you just don't want to kind of let people down. But no, say no. Say no if it doesn't fit your schedule. Sorry.
Say no.
No, and just kind of having a balance with, you know, you need to get this done this day. So I sometimes do I'll sacrifice certain things on days because I know my next day is going to be really busy. So if I think I'm going to be really overwhelmed on Tuesday, Monday, from that whole afternoon, I'm not doing anything. So I can prepare to be overwhelmed on Tuesday. Like, it's just that kind of having a little balance. I do stick to routines, like in the sense that, you know, I'll wake up and go to the gym and I'll go to my 9 to 5, but sometimes I will have to shift things throughout the day and I'll have like a day plan because there's just so much going on.
There is.
But again, if you really want to, you'll make time for it.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting because I think, well, I know I'm a busy person, but I like the idea that if you know you're going to be busy on one day, maybe the day before, make it more chilled. And I was definitely experiencing that yesterday when I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much to do. Then today we're jumping on the podcast, and then tonight I'm packing for holiday. And it's like, where is there time to actually rest? And then when you are resting, it's like you can't even, because you're just so like
thinking about what you have to do
next. So I definitely agree with that. It's probably you scheduling your day. And also stop being like people pleasers.
Yeah.
Because I am definitely a people pleaser.
So, yeah.
I feel like this is a therapy session.
Yeah. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Yeah. I am definitely a people pleaser. Sometimes I don't really say no because maybe it's like more underlaying, like
it's just the idea of like
yourself.
If it were you, it's like you wouldn't want someone to say no to you. So I think it comes from that. You just want to,
Yeah, and there's probably a sense that you want people to like you, and if you say no, they probably won't like you, and that's not true.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
and
not true.
It also what's the word? I was going to say transfusions.
No, not a transfusion.
It transpires into, it transpires into work as well, because if you can't put your foot down, Gary's going to give you more work to do.
Like, you are.
They're
going to
get,
you're going to
have,
sometimes you do need to be like,
a bit stern with it,
I can't do this right now, or just be direct.
Yeah, no, I've learned that as well. Like with my manager and doing an apprenticeship, you would assume that, they have kind of a schedule for you and you have set things to do, but sometimes your manager's so busy he doesn't really have time to see to you, so sometimes I've had no work to do and I've had to sit there and create some slides and say, no, I've not done this for this amount of weeks, I need to do this to tick off this requirement, and this is what I need to do next. And they appreciate it more because they think, oh, she's really taking control here,
like you're doing good time management,
it's so important,
and so on. I think too, a lot of black women will be like, if you, especially in the work corporate setting, if you say no, some people might see it like, like, what do you mean no? Like, we're meant to have this yes can do attitude.
Yeah, like I'm a multitasking, powerful.
Say yes to everything, but then when you're burnt out, you're still gonna get like side eyes.
So much.
Yeah, like why you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think too, in a corporate work setting, I think as long as you set your boundaries in a way that is not seen as what's the word that I'm looking for?
Not malicious, like not coming across in a malicious
way.
In a
if
tone.
You set those boundaries right at the get-go in the beginning, I think your work life will be a lot easier,
so much better,
when it comes to saying no, because if you're starting to feel overwhelmed and you're getting a lot of work put onto you, sometimes you have to look at yourself and be like, did I make this happen? Maybe at the beginning, did I say yes too much? Did I not set those boundaries?
And that sets the tone, so you need to make sure you...
Exactly. It's like when you're dating somebody, you're dating a guy and they give you all of this at the beginning, and then it's coming towards the end of the year and then you're not getting that same treatment.
Getting pebbled.
You're getting this. It's like, well, you set the tone at the beginning. That's the expectations
you need to maintain
I've
that.
had, and now you have to maintain it. So in the work setting, you kind of have to be the same. Set the boundaries at the beginning, and it will then be maintained going throughout. So I definitely agree with that. How old are you?
I'm 21.
21. Oh, so you just touched 20s. Oh, that's nice. How do you find navigating your 20s then? Because I'm 20, I'm going to be 27. Is it Friday, I think. Friday, or the 8th.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay, happy birthday in advance.
Yeah, I don't even know what day.
Oh, makes sense for Zanzibar. Okay.
Exactly, for Zanzibar, yeah. So how have you find like now entering into your 20s, and it's like you've dove straight into like working, and you're growing so fast. I feel like in your 20s you're at your prime because you can do so much, so it's very exciting. How have you found that so far?
Good. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it, and especially working, it's like I have the means to enjoy as well, so that's nice. Making good connections with people and making good friends. I think making friends in 20s is hard. Let's start there.
Making good
friends, genuine friends as well, real people. But the people that you do kind of really click with, I really hold on to them, and I really appreciate them, and that's probably the best part. Like I really do cherish all my friendships. That's good. And I hope they cherish me too.
Yeah, have you found it hard to maintain friendships? Like you meet somebody new, but actually maintain that relationship?
Oh, with someone new that I've made friends with. Yeah. I'm finding it well. I think it's like when it's a mutual, you really feel like, okay, this is a really good friendship, something we can go on. You kind of have fun together. It's a good kind of balance. Yeah, I'm able to maintain my friendships right now.
You touched on like building connections, and I know you go to like a lot of networking events, and I do go to a lot of networking events. I try to go to at least once a month. But you made a very interesting video. It was like what a lot of people do wrong when they go to networking events, and they don't big themselves up. And I completely get what you mean, because when I first started going in uni, I used to just be like, I'm a uni student, There's nothing else to me at that point. So what advice would you give to like people that want to start networking, building more connections? And the second part of the question is, what success have you seen networking and actually meeting new people in your corporate life?
Yeah, definitely. I think, well, the first thing with networking is you just have to get comfortable being uncomfortable, because you're not going to feel comfortable. You're in a room full of people that are going to make you feel a little bit intimidated. They're all very successful. It does make you question yourself, like, why am I not on the level yet? But that's the point of you being there. You're there to grow from everyone else and gain that knowledge and build those connections. So you're not going to be comfortable at first because you feel out of place, but that's the point. You need to, you have to continue to feel like that to start to feel comfortable. It's the same as when you go to the gym at first. You'll literally have gym anxiety, and then I start rolling up in my Uggs, like I start rolling up in my nightgowns. Like
no one cares.
No one cares. Honestly,
no one's actually
so it's that kind of mentality. So that's what I'd say for people trying to get into networking events, and also stay in touch with people that go to them, because they will advertise them. I think people also struggle with finding them, but honestly, simple websites like Eventbrite.
Eventbrite is so easy.
That one is like so many different things.
There's one called Meetup or something. There's an app.
Meetup? And it's a bit more of a casual.
Exactly.
I think it's very important to do that, and that's the showing up.
Exactly.
And then as for kind of results I've received from networking, I mean, I feel like I've only really been in my kind of like networking bag, shall we say, networking bag as of recent, because sometimes it gets busy with work. I just don't have the time. And networking events, let's be honest, they're a bit draining.
They are
a little bit.
When it's like after 6 o'clock and then this finishes at 10, and you're just like, please. Like,
I had a 9 to 5.
I have a 9 to 5. It definitely is a bit draining. That's why I try to like maybe once or twice.
I think you can dabble it in there.
But I would say you can definitely get so much success just meeting and talking.
Yeah.
So, for example, we met online.
Exactly.
Just building your, like, you know when they say your network is your network,
it is.
It really is. And as Black women, we really need to be building our network. There's so many opportunities out there if you just send a DM, or if you just like tap somebody's shoulder and just, obviously you're not in the street, but like, you know what I mean, in a networking event, just tap and just ask them like, what do you do? Because most times like you can kind of collaborate and come together.
I think it's just kind of being stuck in your head thinking that, you know, someone might think you're weird for kind of reaching out, or you know, you just have to get out of your head. It's not worth it.
A lot of it is not true, and I think there's so much value in collaborating and working with other people. I remember I went to a networking event I think a month ago, and I met like somebody high up, you know, Barclays, the bank, somebody high up, and she was offering me her studio space for free, her equipment for free. It was just the timings that didn't work, that we couldn't do it, but just by having that conversation, that is a resource that I can go to in the future. So it's just so like, there's so much
many
value in it,
definitely.
And I'm sure you've seen it too.
Same, exactly.
So definitely network more. People out there listening, definitely network more, because just I can't even.
There's so many places. Like, I think even for me, the biggest thing I'd say is, ever since I've started making content consistently, just people will reach out and they'll have the most loveliest things to say, and they're willing to give you opportunities because they just think, oh, like, you'll be a perfect fit. And if you never put yourself forward, you will never know. You would never have these opportunities. I would never be here, kind of thing. Like, there's so many different things I wouldn't be at. You know, where like going to these events and people telling me, oh, you should really come because you would be a great fit. It's the small things.
Exactly. And plus, it just, what happens to when somebody remembers you from a networking event, they can then go out to somebody back, oh, I actually know Sophia, she does this and that, and they become your advocates, and then that's how you get like so many opportunities come for you, because people are now advocating for you.
Definitely.
So I can't even like,
it's just
I can talk about networking and talking to other people for days, but definitely like network, it's like the prime thing to do. It's actually a dilemma that somebody sent to me. So it was actually somebody that follows you. And she wanted to ask you a question. Her name is Jessica. So this was her dilemma. I've been riding this job application roller coaster, landing a few interviews, applying to more than 10 jobs a day. But I'm finding myself face to face with rejection every single time. It's really tough. Each email is starting with, unfortunately, we haven't taken your application further, and I can't shake the feeling of being overlooked and undervalued. The self-doubt is starting to creep in, making me question my worth and abilities. Why does it seem like others have cracked the code while I'm still stuck in this cycle of rejection? How do I not let the feeling of self-worthlessness or the fear of rejection not stop me from applying to jobs anymore?
Okay.
I've definitely been there.
Yeah, we've all been there. That's what I'm saying. We've all been there. I think, what's her name? Jessica? Jessica. Well, firstly, the fact that she's writing that is already a start. She's trying to kind of get it together. I'd say, I think the first thing that stuck out to me was when she said,
which one? The application part?
Like she feels like everyone's cracked the code.
Yeah, that others have cracked the code whilst I'm stuck in this cycle of rejection.
Firstly, no one's cracked the code. Like, even people that I work with on a day-to-day, no one... To some extent, we don't know what's going on. Yeah. Like, I'll be in the office and everyone's confused. Like, no one knows what's going on. So no one's ever cracked a code. Yeah. It's just a case of taking it as redirection. That just wasn't the place for you. Yeah. And it's hard to hear because I can hear, you're trying, you're doing a lot of applications, but it's the not giving up. Yeah. You need to just keep doing it. There's no option. You have to keep doing it. And when you find that place for you, it will be at the right time for you, and it will come at the right time, and it will be your pick me up. And I think, I
definitely agree. And I think too, one advice that I would give is, it's good that you are recognizing the feelings that you have. So for example, when I didn't get the job that I really wanted, I did cry, but I gave myself that time to cry, and then you have to pick yourself back up again because bills have to be paid. At the end of the day, like things have to be paid for, and the reality is you're not going to not have a job in your life. Do you know what I mean? Like, at the end of it, you are going to have the job, but you just need to pick yourself back up, like you said, and you have to keep applying. And from what really helped me is with every job application that I applied to, my CV was different. So I didn't have one CV. I had I can't even tell you how many CVs I have,
I think I had 13.
Project manager, then a digital marketing, and then I can tell you all the titles that I've had. So, literally, you need to, adjust your CV to
fit that application.
That application. And these days, there's things like ChatGPT. So, I'm not saying, copy and paste a CV, because that's the incorrect way to do it. What I try to do is I copy and paste the job description into ChatGPT, and I give it a prompt. So I might ask it, out of this job description, what are the 5 main things that they are looking
highlight
for?
this,
highlight
and then
the
you can
5 exactly, and I put those 5 main things into my CV, but I reword it, but make it in a way where you've actually done it, you've got experience,
you've adapted it. Obviously, the ChatGPT will sometimes say something that doesn't completely match, but you can just kind of get it to just
tweak it to
make it fit your circumstance,
your experience, your circumstances, your situation. And then once you get that, that's what you use to apply for these jobs. I think a lot of people I'm not saying that Jessica maybe has been lazy, because we don't know your personal circumstances or whatever, but just be more proactive and try and find different ways to apply for jobs. Another thing that I was doing too is I went straight to the job, the person that posted the job on LinkedIn. Yeah, that's another good thing. And I started conversations with them. If they don't reply, fine, fair enough. Find another way. Find
but
their
you tried,
email.
and you're going for
find
it.
Find somebody else in their team. There's so many ways where you can get your foot in the door. But I think the main thing is your mindset. Because you're already saying things like self-doubt is starting to creep in, the feeling of worthlessness. Yeah. And all of these are normal if you're facing rejection all the time. But it's about, like I keep saying, you need to find a way to navigate through that.
Definitely.
And bills has to be paid at the end of the day.
Exactly.
You're going to get the job. So however you get it, you just find more creative ways to actually land that job. That's what I would say. Would you have anything else to add?
No, I think what you mentioned about allowing yourself to kind of grieve it is important, because you put your work in, let yourself feel that pain, because we've all been there. When I had my rejection from the last couple I had left, I was sad as hell, because it's such a norm.
on here. You've dropped so much gems.
Thank
It's been so
you.
nice to learn from you and to have this conversation with yourself. So I'm so thankful, and I can't wait to see what else you're going to do in the future and all the lovely content that you're putting out there, and also for you to come back to Mellow Space and hopefully we can work more together in the future. I'm so down because I want to be holding like events, live events and everything. So it will be an honour to have you there.
Thank you.
So thank you so much.
I want to say thank you as well for having me. I really appreciate you having me on here, and I hope we can grow together as women in this kind of industry and really kind of dominate. In it.
Top of the streets. But yeah, definitely. I can't wait to see like what you have next.
Yeah,
and what
what
we
has
can do
to
together.
come. Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.